All right, you know the feeling, right? You're just scrolling, maybe on your phone, and bam, you see a headline, a comment, something that just instantly lights a fire in you.
That's the one, that visceral thing. You haven't even finished reading the sentence, and you're already fired up, ready to, throw a stone online. But here's the thing. In this explainer, we're not going to get into whether that feeling is right or wrong.
Instead, we're going to flip the script entirely. We're going to look at this whole experience not as a moral failing, but as a biological hazard. And yeah, you heard that right, a physics problem.
So let's start with this whole idea of throwing stones. We all know the famous line, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone." And we hear it and we nod and we think, okay, don't be a hypocrite. But we usually miss the tactical genius of what was really going on in that story.
See, this wasn't just some simple moral test. Underneath it all, it was a brilliant, high-stakes political trap. The people dragging this woman forward weren't looking for justice. They were trying to back Jesus into a corner. I mean, think about it. If he says stone her, he's defying Roman law. If he says let her go, he's defying religious law. It was a setup, an assassination attempt disguised as a moral debate.
So what he does next is the real key. He totally flips it. He shifts the spotlight away from her and shines it right back on them, the accusers. And in doing so, he teaches us a few things that are incredibly relevant today. First, that judgment is often just used as a weapon. And second, he does something that, let's be honest, we find almost impossible to do now. He separates condemnation from correction. He offers grace first and then asks for change.
Okay, so how does an ancient story like that connect to our world today? Well, we got a perfect, and I mean messy, example back in February of 2026. So this whole thing blew up when the Department of Justice released this enormous trove of documents from the Epstein investigation. Buried in there were some email exchanges involving Deepak Chopra. And right around that same time, an artist, Sevda Rubens, came forward with her own story, her own allegations from when she was a teenager. And the internet, well, it did what the internet does. The reaction was swift and it was brutal.
And this quote, this went absolutely viral. It became the battle cry for the whole thing. And it's such a perfect example of how online judgment works, isn't it? It's completely binary. There's just no room for nuance, no gray area. You're either a saint or you're a monster. The digital mob, it just doesn't do in between.
Okay, but this is where we need to pivot, because honestly, regardless of the specifics of that case, or any case like it, the real question for us is, what's the cost to you? You, the person scrolling, the person watching this all unfold. When you pick up that digital stone to throw, what's the price that you pay?
This is what the source material we're looking at calls the triple burn. And what's so interesting about this idea is that it totally reframes the conversation. It's not about morality anymore, it's about your own survival. This isn't about being a good person, it's about not burning your own house down. Because here's the kicker. Justifiable, righteous anger, it burns your system just as hot as the fake stuff.
Okay, so burn number one, the biological burn. The second you feel that outrage spike, your brain's little alarm system, the amygdala, it just hijacks everything. And here's the crazy part. It can't tell the difference between some person you're mad at online and a literal tiger about to pounce. So it does what it's programmed to do. It floods the body with cortisol and adrenaline. You are literally marinating your own organs in stress hormones.
Then there's the second burn, the neurological burn. You see, every time you indulge in that feeling of righteous anger, your brain gives you a little reward, a little hit of dopamine. It feels good. But what you're actually doing is wiring your brain to crave conflict. You're training yourself to be reactive, to look for the next hit. You basically give up your own intellectual freedom and just become another voice in the echo chamber.
And that brings us to the third burn, the energetic burn. Think about it. When your mind is calm and clear, anything feels possible, right? But the act of judgment requires you to collapse all of that infinite potential down into one tiny, dense, hard point of anger. You're literally trading your own creativity and openness for this narrow, reactive state. You actually become the very frequency of the chaos you think you're fighting.
All right, so we've talked about the biological price you pay. But now we get to the part that just completely shatters the whole frame. Let's talk about physics.
19 miles per second. Just think about that number for a sec. That's how fast you, me, this entire planet, all of us, are flying through space right now. That means in the time it took me to say that last sentence, we've traveled about 10 miles.
Just let that sink in. Okay, so here's the mind-bending question. Where is that thing that made you angry half a second ago? Where is that tweet, that comment, that person you were just judging? It's 10 miles behind you, in a patch of space that doesn't even exist for you anymore. It's gone. Which means stress isn't something you have. It's an activity that you are actively doing. You have to keep reaching back in your memory, pulling that feeling forward and recreating it, moment after moment, in a brand new piece of space.
Now that isn't just some cool, trippy science fact. It's actually the key to a super practical tool. It's a way to stop doing the hard, exhausting work of constantly rebuilding your own stress.
It's called the 30-second effortless alchemy, and it's so simple. The next time you feel that hot spike, first, just notice it. Acknowledge it's there. Don't fight it. Then, immediately shift your awareness to the physical space around you. Feel the cool air around your eyes, then the open space around your neck, then your shoulders. By doing that, you interrupt the process. You stop doing the work of recreating the anger. You'll feel a change. And then ask yourself, wait, what did I just do to make that feeling go away? And the answer is kind of amazing. You did nothing. You just stopped doing something. Then you can ask, what else is possible now? And this all brings us to one last, really powerful way to look at, well, everything.
When you really zoom out, we're all basically just temporary visitors here, right? We're like cosmic tourists. We've all got a temporary visa for this planet, and it's got a guaranteed expiration date. And as far as I know, nobody's ever managed to get theirs renewed.
And that simple fact presents us with a choice, every single moment. We can be the deep sleeper, the person who's lost in the dream, thinking they're a victim, clutching onto these hot coals of outrage, totally unaware that they're the one writing the script to their own drama. Or we can be the awake tourist, the one who gets it, the one who recognizes this is a temporary trip, who travels light, knows the exit is coming, and decides to actually enjoy the view while they're here.
So the final question is really for you. Your tour here is temporary. The planet just traveled another 10 miles. So for the next 10 miles of your journey, are you going to spend them doing the exhausting work of recreating a fire that burned out long ago? Or are you going to choose to just breathe in the cool, open, fresh space that's being offered to you, brand new, in every single moment?